A candy bar costs $5 today. In 1971, the same candy bar cost 5 cents. Your dollar lost 98% of its purchasing power in 50 years. This wasn't inflation. It was systematic wealth transfer hidden in plain sight. Welcome to Financial Shadows, where we expose the mechanisms eroding your money while you sleep. The gold standard died in 1971, and with it died the last constraint on government money printing. What replaced it wasn't just a different monetary system, it was a trap designed to look like freedom. Today, 35 days before 2026, we stand at the edge of the third great currency system collapse. The pattern has repeated twice already. Gold standard represented real money pegged to physical commodity. Governments couldn't print unlimited currency because every dollar required gold backing. This constraint forced fiscal discipline and protected purchasing power. A dollar in 1900 bought roughly the same goods as a dollar in 1950. 50 years of monetary stability that seems impossible today. But stability came with inflexibility. Wars required massive spending. Economic crises demanded stimulus. The gold standard prevented governments from solving problems through money printing. So they blamed the standard rather than their spending, and eventually, they broke it. Nixon's 1971 decision to sever dollar-gold convertibility unleashed money creation with zero physical limitation. The printing press became the solution to every economic problem, and inflation became the chronic disease nobody could cure. Financial Shadows sees this as the first domino falling. Fiat currency is collapsing under pressure of inflation today. Digital currency will collapse under pressure of control tomorrow. The pattern repeats with each iteration, and 2026 marks the transition to the third system. That $5 candy bar you struggle to afford? Imagine when programmable digital currency decides you've exceeded your sugar allowance and blocks the purchase entirely. When did you first notice your dollar buying less? Was it gas prices, groceries, or housing? Drop the year you realized something changed. The pattern becomes clear when we map when people woke up to currency debasement. The British pound sterling dominated global trade for over a century because it represented real value, gold. Before 1971, currencies weren't abstract numbers on screens, they were claims on physical metal. This wasn't theoretical monetary policy, it was tangible wealth you could hold. The golden age of currency stability lasted from roughly 1870 to 1914. During this period, major currencies maintained fixed gold conversion rates, creating unprecedented international trade efficiency. A British pound could be exchanged for specific gold amounts anywhere globally. Currency exchange wasn't speculation, it was simple conversion of gold-backed claims between nations. The system's magic was its limitation on government spending. Authorities wanting to spend beyond tax revenue couldn't simply print money. They had to either raise taxes, borrow, or reduce spending. The gold standard acted as automatic fiscal discipline, preventing the monetary manipulation and currency debasement that would later become standard economic policy. For ordinary citizens, this gold-backed system meant purchasing power stability across generations. A grandmother could save gold coins for grandchildren, knowing their value would remain relatively constant. Money represented genuine store of wealth, not slowly depreciating government paper. The concept of inflation eating your savings didn't exist because governments couldn't inflate gold supply through printing presses. Historical examples demonstrate this monetary stability. The US dollar maintained consistent purchasing power from 1792 to 1913, over 120 years of economic stability. Prices in 1913 were remarkably similar to prices in 1800. Compare this to post-1971 fiat currency era, where purchasing power halves every generation through chronic inflation. Your grandparents' money retained value, yours evaporates. But the Golden Age contained seeds of currency collapse. World War I required massive government spending that gold constraints prevented. Nations suspended gold convertibility to fund war efforts, discovering that unlimited money printing solved immediate financing problems. The temptation of unconstrained fiscal policy proved too strong. The public's trust in limited supply proved both strength and fatal weakness. People accepted gold-backed currency because they knew governments couldn't create it arbitrarily. But this same trust allowed gradual erosion through fractional reserve banking. Governments began issuing more currency than gold backing justified, quietly undermining the monetary system's foundation. Think about your grandparents' generation buying houses on single income with gold-backed dollars. Could they imagine today's dual-income families struggling with mortgage payments? That's not housing getting expensive, that's currency getting worthless. Which decade had better monetary policy for average families? The 1950s or 2020s? The gold standard didn't fail, it was murdered. Financial Shadows investigation reveals governments chose short-term political convenience over long-term monetary stability. War financing and economic crisis provided the excuse, but unlimited government spending was always the true goal. World War I marked the first major crack in currency stability. European nations suspended gold convertibility to print money for war financing. What began as temporary emergency measure became permanent fiscal policy. Once governments discovered they could fund spending through money printing rather than taxation, returning to gold discipline became politically impossible. The Great Depression created the second pressure point for monetary policy change. Governments blamed gold standard inflexibility for preventing economic stimulus. If only they could print unlimited money, prosperity would return. This ignored that gold backing hadn't caused the Depression. Government and central bank policies had. Blaming the monetary system was easier than admitting policy failures. Bretton Woods in 1944 established the dollar as world reserve currency backed by gold. Other currencies pegged to the dollar, creating gold standard by proxy. This required trusting America's commitment to convertibility. That trust was catastrophically misplaced. Vietnam War and Great Society programs in the 1960s required massive government spending. Rather than raise taxes or cut programs, the U.S. simply printed more dollars. Foreign nations noticed this currency debasement and began demanding gold conversion. America faced a choice: fiscal discipline or abandoning gold backing entirely. On August 15, 1971, President Nixon severed dollar-gold convertibility. This decision was marketed as a temporary measure to defend the dollar. Financial Shadows sees it for what it was: permanent removal of the last constraint on money printing and inflation. Government wasn't defending currency value, it was defending unlimited spending capacity. The ticking time bomb of unconstrained fiat currency had been armed. Nixon's shock transformed global monetary policy permanently, unleashing the inflation crisis we live with today. Gold standard collapsed when government spending demands exceeded system constraints. Which was the bigger economic disaster? Gold standard's inflexibility that prevented stimulus, or fiat currency's flexibility that enabled chronic inflation? Both systems had fatal flaws. Which damaged average citizens more? 54 years after Nixon severed gold convertibility, the dollar lost 98% purchasing power. This isn't inflation, it's currency destruction in slow motion. Financial Shadows traces this monetary tragedy as deliberate policy producing predictable results. The mechanism is simple. Unlimited money printing chasing limited goods produces price increases. When government spending exceeds tax revenue, the Federal Reserve creates new dollars through quantitative easing. These new dollars dilute existing currency value, transferring wealth from savers to government through hidden inflation tax. The inflation creep has been insidious and devastating. In 1971, median house price was $28,000. Today it exceeds $400,000, a 14-fold increase. Did houses become 14 times better? No. Dollars became 14 times weaker through systematic currency debasement. Your grandparents bought homes on single income. You struggle with dual income despite economic progress claims. The national debt crisis demonstrates fiat currency terminal failure. U.S. government debt exceeds $34 trillion and grows $1 trillion every 100 days. This debt will never be repaid through taxation. It's mathematically impossible. The only solution is money printing, creating inflation that erodes debt's real value while destroying citizens' purchasing power. Hyperinflation examples reveal fiat money's end-stage disease. Weimar Germany's currency collapsed so completely, people used banknotes as wallpaper. Zimbabwe required $100 trillion notes to buy bread. Venezuela's currency lost value faster than people could spend it. These aren't distant warnings, they're previews of advanced monetary system failure. When currency loses public trust completely, economic activity ceases. Merchants refuse payment in worthless paper. Barter replaces commerce. Supply chains collapse. Currency failure doesn't just impoverish, it destabilizes entire civilizations through economic collapse. Financial Shadows identifies the critical parallel. Rome debased silver content in coins until currency collapsed, triggering empire fall. America debases dollar value through unlimited printing until confidence erodes. The pattern holds across millennia, and 2026 positions us close to that terminal point. What's the most expensive thing you can't afford now that was cheap in your parents' generation? Housing, education, healthcare? The answers reveal true inflation costs beyond government statistics. As fiat currency credibility erodes, governments aren't returning to gold, they're advancing to total control. Central bank digital currencies represent the third monetary system, and their collapse pattern is already visible. The digital currency trap is being set while citizens watch. CBDCs promise convenience while delivering surveillance and control. Unlike cash, digital currency allows governments to track every transaction, program spending restrictions, and implement negative interest rates, forcing consumption. The technology enabling this financial control already exists. Rollout accelerates throughout 2025. China's digital yuan demonstrates dystopian potential. The system tracks citizen purchases, integrates with social credit scores, and allows government to freeze accounts instantly. Dissidents find themselves unable to buy food. Political donors lose access to money. The currency itself becomes control mechanism. Western nations claim their CBDCs will differ from China's authoritarian approach, but the technology enables identical control. Once infrastructure exists for programmable, trackable currency, political pressure will demand its use. The excuses write themselves: child safety, terrorism prevention, tax evasion. The parallel to previous monetary systems is chilling. Gold standard promised stability but constrained government spending, so they abandoned it. Fiat currency promised flexibility but enabled inflation, so they're abandoning it. Digital currency promises efficiency but enables control, and they're implementing it anyway. Financial Shadows identifies critical vulnerability: centralization. Gold was decentralized. Anyone could hold real metal. Fiat maintains some decentralization through cash. CBDCs eliminate all decentralization, creating single point of control and failure. The timeline matters for financial preparedness. CBDC pilots run throughout 2025. Full implementation plans target 2026-2027. This transition from fiat to digital happens now, and most people don't realize they're entering a monetary trap, making inflation look benign. Would you accept CBDC if government offered universal basic income in exchange? That's the trade-off coming: programmable money for free government payments. Where's your personal line between convenience and control? Financial Shadows traced 3 monetary systems across 150 years, and the currency collapse pattern is undeniable. Each system promised to solve previous failures. Each contained fatal flaws leading to predictable economic collapse. Gold standard, 1870 to 1971. Constraint collapse. Fatal flaw was inflexibility preventing unlimited government spending. War financing and economic crisis created pressure. Government chose spending over monetary stability. Result: abandonment for fiat currency system. Fiat currency, 1971 to 2026. Inflation collapse. Fatal flaw is unlimited money printing, enabling chronic inflation. Debt crisis requires continued currency creation. Purchasing power erosion destroys public trust. Result: transition to digital currency system. Digital currency, 2026 future. Control collapse. Fatal flaw is total surveillance, eliminating privacy. Public resistance to programmable money restrictions will build. Predicted collapse when control exceeds tolerance. Result: system failure when economic freedom disappears. The common thread across all monetary systems: governments prioritize short-term political goals over long-term currency stability. Gold constrained spending, so they removed gold backing. Fiat enabled inflation, so they promise control. Digital enables surveillance, so they'll eventually face resistance. The collapse acceleration pattern is noteworthy. Gold standard lasted roughly a century before monetary system failure. Fiat currency lasted barely 50 years before crisis. How long will digital currency last when built on weaker foundation? Financial Shadows predicts the third system's lifespan, measured in years, not decades. The wealth transfer pattern repeats across all currency systems. Gold to fiat transferred wealth from savers to debtors through inflation. Fiat to digital will transfer wealth from free citizens to controlled subjects through programmability. Each transition enriches those implementing the system while impoverishing those using it. Recognition of this economic collapse pattern separates prepared individuals from casualties. Most people believe this time is different with each monetary system change. History proves it's never different. Only mechanisms vary. Which collapse are we closest to repeating? Weimar hyperinflation, Soviet economic stagnation, or something worse? Historical patterns suggest the answer. Place your prediction in comments.
The investigation is complete. 3 currency systems, 3 collapses, 1 pattern. Gold fell to government spending demands. Fiat falls to inflation erosion. Digital will fall to control rejection. 35 days until 2026, and the monetary system transition accelerates. Understanding currency collapse provides advantage only if converted to action. Financial Shadows doesn't offer hope. We offer strategic preparation based on historical precedent. That $5 candy bar isn't returning to 5 cents. The question is whether it costs $50 by 2030 and whether you can still buy it. When CBDCs decide you've exceeded sugar limits. Diversification across monetary systems represents the only defense against economic collapse. Don't put all wealth in collapsing fiat currency. Don't trust the emerging digital trap. Gold and silver provide the same protection in 2026 that they provided throughout history. Government can't print precious metals, can't program their usage, can't devalue them through fiscal policy. The practical steps aren't complicated. Allocate wealth portion to physical precious metals. Maintain some cash outside banking system. Develop skills valuable across economic systems. Build community networks that function when currencies fail. These preparations serve regardless of which collapse scenario materializes first. The cryptocurrency consideration divides Financial Shadows' audience. Some see Bitcoin as digital gold, protecting against both inflation and control. Others see it as speculative bubble, vulnerable to government ban. What's certain is that diversification means holding multiple assets, not betting everything on single solution. Community resilience matters more than most realize. When currency systems collapse, strong local networks survive better than isolated individuals. Know your neighbors. Establish barter relationships. Create mutual support systems. Depression survivors who thrived were those in support of communities, not those hoarding gold alone. The final recognition: you can't change government monetary policy, but you can protect yourself from its consequences. The currency collapse pattern will continue regardless. What changes is whether you're prepared or caught unprepared. Financial Shadows has exposed the pattern. The shadows concealing monetary system fragility have been illuminated. What percentage of your wealth is in assets government can't devalue or control? Drop your number below. No judgment, just curious where the community stands.